Hi, I'm João Lima, editor of Data Economy, and this is Frontline. Today I'm talking to Rob Coupland, Managing Director Europe for Digital Realty at the new data center in Frankfurt. Rob, thanks a lot for talking to me. This new facility, you're just opening it today, so it's early November. Can you talk to us about the facility itself? Because this is a big campus. It will be a big campus once fully built.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, we have an existing site here in Frankfurt, which came with the acquisition we did last year, but this is a brand new investment on a campus here, which, when it's fully built out, will give us 3 buildings, 9 megawatts each, which will give us a total of 27 megawatts across the campus.
And why expand your footprint in Germany?
Well, Germany is one of the big markets in Europe. It's a market that we at Digital Realty have been focused on for a while in terms of finding our way into there. I think really particularly as we see the European landscape evolving, Germany is a big market already, but I think with things like GDPR, increased focus on data sovereignty, data privacy, it's a market that we see huge potential in the future.
So, and how do you see, for example, some recent figures from JLL said in Q3, Amsterdam has actually taken over Frankfurt. So it's London, Amsterdam, then Frankfurt. But then they say in Q4 will come down to London, Frankfurt, Amsterdam. How do you see these two markets? There's quite an interesting friction there.
Yeah, look, and I think there's a degree of, and there always has been a degree of kind of competition between those markets, both in terms of kind of pure data center, but also the networks that go through them, and both of them are really important nodes for mainland Europe. So I think from our perspective, we've actually made significant investments in both markets this year, and I think we see both of them being really important in the long-term landscape of data centers in Europe.
And then the long-term landscape of data centers in Europe also comes down to GDPR, which is in about 5 to 6 months will be here.
Yeah.
How is this facility future-proofed, or how does this future-proof your business in terms of GDPR?
I mean, I think what GDPR does is, it's kind of focusing people on how their data is being used, where the data sits. I think actually that's something where Germany has taken a lead over many years. The data privacy laws here, the way Germans think about data has actually been quite leading edge, and I think a lot of what GDPR does is kind of bring some of the standards around the rest of Europe up to the same place. So I think we all live in a world where data becomes more and more critical to our businesses, and I think GDPR will underpin how people think about that. So I think it's one of the reasons why you will see strong demand in each of the markets around Europe, actually.
Well, one of the interesting things about GDPR was the harmonization of legislation around Europe. But what we're seeing now, and in Germany as well, is that countries are creating new legislation, so new data laws, new data bills. You look at the UK, you look at Ireland. Let's not talk about the UK, but you look at Ireland, you look at Germany, France even, or Spain, and they all are creating or looking to creating new data laws, which will go on top of GDPR. Doesn't that go a little bit against what GDPR was created for in the first instance, which was to make it easier for businesses to operate within the 28 member states?
Yeah, but I think what you see here are a few different things coming together, and even here in Germany you have things like C5, which are kind of localized regulations, and I think really what GDPR will do is provide a common framework, and I think our expectation is that will help each country harmonize around that, and it will give a common framework for companies that are trying to operate across geographies to home in on. So, I think, we've all seen some of the big stories where there have been breaches around data security and the impact for individuals on that. So I think the fact that there's much more focus coming on this now is fundamentally a good thing. I think, we will see these as tools, helping shape the environment.
Okay, and then when we look into cloud and data center services, so moving out of GDPR, 4 main trends or 4 main hypes at the moment are blockchain, serverless, IoT, and edge computing, and artificial intelligence. How do you see these 4 things being used in the European market, and how is it driving business to you in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things, fundamentally what you see is businesses are digitizing what they do, and increasingly an organization's data has gone from being something that was sort of relatively static into something that's now very dynamic, and IoT is opening out opportunities for people in terms of the way they use their supply chain, the ways they use their logistics, and ultimately what it's doing is meaning that people's systems and their IT systems move from being what traditionally was maybe seen as something that was a kind of a back-end item. Back office item is now fundamental to the business and fundamental to the way people go to market. So What you kind of see that driving is really a focus on how people are using their data and what applications and platforms they need within there. And so we see a hybrid environment being, something that most organizations are driving, making strong use of cloud and on-demand services, but at the same time having some very real requirements that they need to put on physical infrastructure that they can own and manage themselves.
And then picking on that and looking at the demand as well in Europe, when you look at the European map, is it a country or a city or a country or region that you think you're not in and you should be in as soon as possible? Because there's demand.
Yeah, look, and I think the European marketplace is a very, very active marketplace. In our own business, over the last couple of years, we've made significant investments that have expanded us from being a scale operator to being a much more rounded end-to-end operator with the co-location assets that we acquired. And what we've been doing over the last 18 months is making some big investments in both our scale footprint and our co-location footprint around London, Amsterdam, Frankfurt and Dublin. And you should expect to see us doing more in those marketplaces. I think, we look at opportunities around Europe, and I think we see other areas around Europe that could be interesting. But what we're not trying to do is sort of put a pin in every country. We'll focus on countries where we believe demand is strong, where we believe that we're going to be able to drive a good return for our shareholders, and also countries where our customers want us to serve them.
Okay. And then as we in 2017 and we look into 2018, what's going to keep you busy the most?
Yeah, well, look, we've got a brand new site here in Frankfurt that we're looking to fill up with customers, and again, we've got more to come here. And I think really making sure that we, 2017 has very much been around the integration of the businesses that we acquired in Europe, and really kind of making sure that we get momentum into our sales and go-to-market messaging. So see 2018 as being a really important year in terms of accelerating that message around the markets that we have here in Europe.
Okay, Rob, thanks a lot for talking to me.
Thank you.
Don't forget you can follow Data Economy on Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn, and also visit the website on www.data-economy.com.